Emisión Cero, con Ricardo Fraguas.
Imagine there's no heaven.
This program is brought to you by AC Car, 100% electric zero emissions cars in Europe. accar.es.
No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for.
Nothing to kill or die for. Hello everyone, this is Ricardo Fraguas and this is Emisión Cero at Radio Internacional de España, your program dedicated to the information and promotion of sustainability and the sustainable development goals. Sustainability understood as that act of generosity, of thinking about others, to preserve our natural resources, to cope with our needs, the needs of the present, without compromising that the future generations can do the same. Jesus Valle, are you with us? No, not yet. Soon we will welcome Jesus Valle, our advisor in research, development and innovation of this program. For the moment, let's listen to the wise words of John Lennon in the fantastic version of our friends of Chopin, Imagine.
We'll be as one. Be as one. Imagine no possessions. Wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people
Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Well, we don't have to imagine because we're doing it, and we're doing it very well. We're living the best moment of the human civilization. We came together around the United Nations to focus in what is most important, live in peace, in harmony, and eradicate extreme poverty. Imagine.
Someday you will join us.
Let us unite in this cry of freedom and hope, feeling that we are one human family with a common destiny and we can live as one.
Live as one. Live as one. Live as one. Live as one.
We stand at a critical moment in Earth's history, a time when humanity must choose its future. As the world becomes increasingly interdependent and fragile, the future at once holds great peril, but also great promise. To move forward, we must recognize that in the midst of a magnificent diversity of cultures and life forms, yes, we are one human family and one Earth community with a common destiny. We must join together to bring forth a sustainable global society founded on respect for nature, universal human rights, economic justice, and a culture of peace. Towards this end, it is imperative that we, the peoples of Earth, declare our responsibility to one another, to the greater community of life, and to future generations. These are the wise words of the United Nations Earth Charter that we make ours and yours here, in Emisión Cero, at Radio Internacional de España. And welcome to Emisión Cero, the program dedicated to the information and promotion of sustainability and the sustainable development goals. Sustainability, always understood as that act of generosity, thinking about others, to take advantage but also preserve natural resources to cope with the needs of the present without compromising that the future generations and everyone of them can do the same. First of all, our thoughts with the people that are escaping from extreme poverty, extreme violence, and those who are suffering the natural disasters that are more and more severe every time because of the climate change, particularly today, closer to our sisters and brothers of the country of Japan. I'd like to welcome a very good friend that's been away for a while. He's an advisor of this program in terms of research, development and innovation. He's in charge of that magnificent center for the development of more efficient ships in Spain, the hydrodynamic experiences channel, dependent of the INTA in Spain, and he is a doctor and professor as well, naval engineer. Jesus Valle. Jesus, amigo, how are you?
Well, fine. How are you doing? It's a long time that I don't talk with you, don't speak with you, so it's very nice to come back and be with all our friends of Emisión Cero here in Radio Internacional.
The pleasure is ours. I guess you are talking from that beautiful center dedicated to making our ships more efficient. We have to remember always that our routes are still transport. 90% of the transport of goods in the world are still by ship, and you are taking care of making them cleaner and more efficient day after day. Jesus, are you there?
Yes, I'm here trying to improve the maritime sector. As you know, we are not the cleanest sector in the world, but we are working day by day trying to have a more efficient transportation in the seas, and be cleaner step by step, day by day, improving ourselves.
Well, there are very good news in your sector because you're working a lot to become independent from fossil fuels. Little by little, as you say, we see more and more ships that are taking advantage of electricity to move along the beautiful waters that we have also to preserve clean in our sea, something that is still not happening, but we're still fighting with it. Well, we have to congratulate you and your wife, because you changed very recently status. Now you enter this new and unknown field of the marital status for you.
Yes, now I'm in the marriage club, as you know, and well, I'm very happy. You know that at the beginning everything is very, very nice. So I will try to have a very, very nice life with my wife. So you will be part of this for sure. So
we wish you.
Let's try to enjoy it.
We wish you the best. You've been traveling around and also across the several seas and oceans during your holidays. How are the waters around the world, and how is the conscience of the people of the sea to preserve our mother nature that is giving life to every life being, that also every human being?
Well, as you know, I was we were in the Caribbean seas, sailing, and I realized two important things. One thing is that the temperature is very high compared with other years, previous years. So the temperature in these waters is very, very high compared with the normal measurements. And another thing is the high quantity of microorganisms and algae and that you can see in the sea. That is due to the high temperatures of the water also. I think that one of the important things that you learn when you are there, and you realize that the temperatures are so high and the microorganisms are growing as much, is that this is a serious thing, and we have to take into account that we need to do something quickly to recover the normal situation at the balance, the equilibrium in the system, and continue having very good times in these seas and enjoying the life in the earth.
We're talking to our friend Jesus Valle, an expert in naval engineering and in charge of the research and development of the hydrodynamic experiences channel in Spain to make and improve our ships and make them more clean and efficient. Scientists, Jesus and friends, tell us that we see in the sea what is happening with global warming and climate change, and is the acidification of the ocean. The ocean, as our forests act as a capturer of CO2 excess, that gas that is making our atmosphere more warm that it should be, warmer than it should be. And the sea cannot absorb any more CO2 and is becoming too acid, and as Jesus is telling us, is killing loads of life and is making other life that is not that beneficial grow a lot, no, Jesus?
Yes, that's true, because the situation is not very good for humans or mammals, but will be a very good situation for other kind of life in the world. So let's try to recover the natural equilibrium and keep our world safe and clean, and in the situation where all the life can be possible.
We recommend you to turn to the page of the web page of the National Aerospace Agency, the NASA in the United States, to understand about climate change and what science tell us. Just a quick review. Jesus, correct me if I'm wrong. Greenhouse gases are good and actually in the natural balance that keep that average temperature in the atmosphere and in Earth, capturing the part of the radiation from the sun that hits the Earth, so we can live the life that we know and can be life on Earth. But the thing is that artificially we are producing such an excess, tremendous excess of those greenhouse gases, particularly CO2, carbon dioxide, at the point that we're closing those pores of the atmosphere, and part of the heat cannot go away anymore, and we're warming up and changing artificially the natural status of those gases, and then the average natural temperature that we should have. Is that correct, Jesus?
Yes. That is what is happening. We are producing such a kind of gases that are in the atmosphere. So the temperature that enter in the atmosphere between the Earth's surface and these gases keep inside. It's like a bounce. They are bouncing inside, so they increase the temperature, and it's not the better situation for the kind of life we know today. For sure that the Earth will compensate everything and will come to another equilibrium or another situation, but this will not be the Earth that we know today. It will be another kind of Earth, maybe better, maybe worse, but for sure it will be worse for the humankind.
The key is stopping the dependence on the massive burning of fossil fuels that we've been using to produce practically everything in terms of the energy the human civilization needs, including transport by the sea, as you're still doing with the big ships, Jesus. For more than 50 years, you scientists have been telling us that we will see signs in nature that this is happening, and the first signs are extreme meteors, and that is happening. We have to turn to the information of our common treasure, the United Nations, to let you know that with typhoon Hagibis causing destruction and loss of life in Japan, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has praised the leadership role the country is playing in climate resilience and its extensive and efficient preparation for this latest extreme weather event. The World Meteorological Organization has described the typhoon as one of the highest impact storms to hit Japan in many years, with hurricane-force winds, record-breaking rainfall, devastating storm surges, and coastal inland flooding. Our thoughts also with our sisters and brothers of Japan. But this is not new, Jesus. We know this for long, and you scientists have been telling us we are going to see these extreme changes in nature, and it is in our hand to change it. We are doing it. We need to go faster. What else can we need to do? What else can we do, Jesus?
Yes, that's true. These meteorological phenomena that are happening today were previously advanced by the scientists. You were talking about the typhoons in Japan, but here in Europe we can see that all the hurricanes that were normally in the Caribbean Sea, they were in the part of America, are now reaching our coast, and we start to have hurricanes in Europe, in Spain, and it was not the way the things happened 2 or 3 decades before. We have to hurry up and change everything, but we have to keep in mind that it is not a reversive situation. Mm-hmm. What we can do is stop the effects of this climate, but not recover the previous situation.
Well, we are losing almost 200 species a day of animal and vegetable life.
It will be impossible to recover them.
Yeah, yes? Exactly. And we too hypocrite, Jesus, even at every level. Even also from our common treasure, the United Nations, where we have been capable of coming together to put these sustainable goals to conquer them before 2030. The first one, the eradication of poverty, that we've done it in many territories, like the one we were speaking from in Spain 50 years ago. We were under extreme poverty, most of the population, without knowing read or write, and we know that we can do it. But we can do it also preserving our nature and basing our energy needs from renewable sources. And we have the tools to do it. We are doing it, but we need to go faster. And faster is what is easier to do and what is in our hands. Like, for example, stop burning fossil fuels for our transport. We have now zero emissions vehicles, like the one you use every day, and I do, and many other people. But unless we run with our legal frames to conduct citizens, and also in this case the producers of vehicles and the producers of energy, we're going to be late if we are not late already, Jesus.
Well, you know that we are always late when we are talking about the ecosystems and the life, but well, we are still on time to do a lot of many things. The problem here is that sometimes the technology is not as much advanced as we wanted as we want to be able to stop this situation, and it's very difficult to invent technologies that are not invented today, and we need very quickly, very fast. But we must do our best in order to solve this big problem. Everybody can realize now that the temperatures and the weather is not in the good situation that we want to have.
Yeah, and we don't have to inherited models that we can improve, and we don't have to keep on going with them. Not like producing all our energy resources, from one part of the earth, and then transport it to everywhere else, and become dependent from that resource that is actually going to end and is polluting, when we can now produce all our sources of energy from renewable sources everywhere to be consumed everywhere, even also for transport with electric vehicles. So our advice is to switch, if you use a personal vehicle or vehicles for your company, to switch to zero emissions vehicles. And the ones that we know now that work very well and can use that energy that we produce locally in every building are the electric vehicles. City buses are the world's first responders to climate emergency. United Nations Chief Antonio Guterres just declared at an international major summit in Copenhagen. In his opening remarks to the C40 World Major Summit for member cities to present innovative actions to slow global warming, the Secretary General noted that cities, which contain more than half the world's population and have an enormous climate footprint, are on the front lines of sustainable and inclusive development. Urban citizens look to mayors to make cities havens for diversity, social cohesion, and job creation. But big cities, Jesus and friends, in the world are the ones that are experiencing the worst air that we breathe, because we continue burning fossil fuels, and we can change it. Now, for example, in Spain, we're approaching winter, and now we see something that in the future, when we will look back, we'll see, and we really did that. Now we see all these trucks with fueling all the buildings and houses of the people to prepare for the winter, to burn diesel to heat us up. When we have sun in Spain, we can produce electricity in our roofs and wind, to take advantage of the wind to produce electricity also, to heat us up and to cool us down. It's very paradoxical, Jesus.
Yes, it's true. We need to change the way we proceed, but it is not very easy. You know that normally when you have to change, many people is against the change.
Well,
but we are in a situation that we must do.
Particularly those who are making money out of it and based on public money, like, for example, all the subsidies that the fossil fuel industry still receives from that. That's why we always say that we need a legal framework. We need laws that protect us, protects our nature, protects our air, the air that we breathe, and let us citizens go in one or other direction, because otherwise the wheel will keep on turning the same way and the same speed, Jesus.
Sí. Yes, you are right. The problem is that one of the problems is that we are supporting many companies that are not very clean companies, and are against the situation, the new situation, and this is a political decision. As you know, I normally I don't enter in the political decisions, because I'm a civil servant, and I suppose that I will not. I have my own opinions, but there are my own opinions, but it's true that it's objective that you are today investing in technologies that are not clean. So my idea is that all the investment today should be conducted in the technologies that are clean technologies and are good for the ecosystems and so on. So
today we are going to recover some wise words and voices. We're going to listen to Harrison Ford addressing the Climate Action Summit, or representatives from the different countries, companies and banks, and we're going to listen to the young people as well, that is telling us what many think as well, that we don't understand much. If we are in a climate emergency and we know how to put an end to it, and we have the solution in our hands, why are not really moving faster? No, if the house of our friend is burning and we have some buckets with water, we should stand up and give a hand. Is what we should do, and we would do. And if if our world is in a climate emergency, it is very strange that we're still sitting down arguing what to do when we have those buckets of water to put an end, in this case, the renewable sources of energy and ways to use it. So let's bring now some tunes of hope with this song that I prepared for the digital summit of Iberdrola, that big company that is doing a lot to change our paradigm of energy, producing renewable energy, closing all the pollutant energy centrals around the world, and now producing a lot from the wind and from the sun. And they invited me to talk about sustainability, and I prepared this song that is a song of wisdom, and we link it to this possibility. We all have to make the world that we believe in, because it is in our hands, and particularly to eradicate extreme poverty.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling the world of your creation. What you'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There's no life that I know to compare with pure imagination. Living here, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There's no life that I know to compare with pure imagination. Living here, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Están escuchando Emisión Cero con Ricardo Fraguas en Radio Internacional de España.
We are doing it. We're imagining the world we want to live in, and we are building it. We're living the best version of the human civilization, and we have to grab that. We've been capable of coming together around the United Nations, not to killing massively to each other, as happened during last century, and we have focused in what is really important, so that everyone in the human family can exercise the human rights, the rights to live freely and with dignity, to have access to education and to health and to housing and to move and express freely. And many of us have the privilege to do it, but too many yet cannot do it, and we know that we can conquer that. We can eradicate extreme poverty, and we can facilitate that everyone can, in the human family, can exercise the human rights, and we put a date before 2030. We could have done it before, but we know that for sure we have the resources to do it for 2030, and we're doing it. So, indeed, the best version of our civilization in the thousands and thousands of years that the human beings have been on Earth, we've never experienced something like that. And this happened in the last 70 years. The recognition and the defense of the human rights, and now focusing altogether in what is really important: eradication of poverty, live freely, in peace and harmony. Jesus, so it's a matter of joy, but a matter also of action. Jesus, are you with us? Jesus, we lost a connection with you. Okay, so we're going to listen to the words of a person that we all appreciate and love as an actor, and also as a defender of nature for long, with this fantastic organization called Conservation International, creating awareness of the importance of preserving nature. Is Jesus with us, John? He's down. Okay, no problem. So have we ready the words of Harrison Ford? John, thank you very much for everything you do in the control. John Anderson Garcia is doing all his best, and you can experience it. You're receiving the sound of Radio Internacional and Emisión Cero, as well as you're listening to it. Harrison Ford is ready? So Harrison Ford in front of addressing the United Nations and talking about the importance of preserving nature.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. You're here, I'm here, because we care. Not just for today, but we care passionately for the future. We know that we only have the possibility of avoiding a looming climate catastrophe if people like us refuse to give up. Conservation International has been working for 30 years to protect nature for people. I've been on their board for over 20 years. We've done some good work in that time, working with others, many of whom are in this room today. We've accomplished a lot, but all of that is at risk if we don't change the path that we're on today. The future of humanity is at stake. While you work to meet the challenge of climate change, I beg of you, don't forget nature. Because today, the destruction of nature accounts for more global emissions than all the cars and trucks in the world. We can put solar panels on every house, we can turn every car into an electric vehicle, but as long as Sumatra burns, we will have failed. So long as the Amazon's great forests are slashed and burned, so long as the protected lands of tribal people, indigenous people, are allowed to be encroached upon, so long as wetlands and bog peats are destroyed, our climate goals will remain out of reach, and we will be shit out of time. If we don't stop the destruction of our natural world, nothing else will matter. Why? Because protecting and restoring forests, mangroves, wetlands, These huge, dense carbon sinks represent at least 30% of what needs to be done to avoid catastrophic warming. It is, at this time, the only feasible solution for absorbing carbon on a global scale. Simply put, if we don't protect nature, we can't protect ourselves. This is what we need to do. We need to include nature in every corporate, state, and national climate goal. Put in place the plans, the timetables to meet those goals. Invest in mangroves and tropical forests in the same way invest in renewable energy. Work to end the destruction of these ecosystems. Commit to the effort in the next decade to secure them for the future. Pursue research in reforestation like we pursue research in carbon capture and storage. Set a goal to cut costs and increase scale dramatically. Empower indigenous communities to use their knowledge, their history, their imaginations, our science to save their heritage and their lands. Respect and ensure their rights. Educate and elect leaders who believe in science and understand the importance of protecting nature. Stop, for God's sake, the denigration of science. Stop giving power to people who don't believe in science, or worse than that, pretend they don't believe in science for their own self-interest. They know who they are. We know who they are. We are all, rich or poor, powerful or powerless. We will all suffer the effects of climate change and ecosystem destruction, and we are facing what is quickly becoming the greatest moral crisis of our time, that those least responsible will bear the greatest costs. So never forget who you're fighting for. It's the fisherman in Colombia, the fisherman in Somalia, who wonders where their next catch is coming from and wonders why the government can't protect them from a factory fishing from across the world. It's the mother in the Philippines who's worried that the next big storm is going to rip her infant out of her arms. It's the people right here in California, people on the East Coast, people in California who are fleeing from unprecedented fires. People on the East Coast are facing the worst storms in recorded history. It's our own country, our own community, our own families. This is the core truth. If we are to survive on this planet, the only home any of us will ever know, for our climate, for our security, for our future, we need nature. Now, more than ever. Because nature doesn't need people. People need nature. So let's turn off our phones, let's roll up our sleeves, and let's kick this monster's ass.
Emisión Cero, con Ricardo Fraguas.
I can almost see it, that dream I'm dreaming, but there's a voice inside my head saying, you'll never reach it. Every step I'm taking, every move I make feels lost with no direction. My faith is shaking, but I gotta keep trying. Gotta keep my head held high. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's a climb.
All right. You've recognized her beautiful voice. She's Conchita doing this beautiful version of the song by Miley Cyrus, the Climb. Conchita, a student of biology, singer, and also an activist, also trying to create awareness and to bring people together, particularly young people, to protect our nature and to preserve our natural resources, to enjoy them in the present, and allowing the people of the future also to be able to enjoy this marvelous planet that we have. And she created Earth Youth Project to put people, young people of goodwill together to do this, because it is in our hands. And I'd like to welcome and say hello to Conchita, and also to ask her how the words of Harrison Ford resonate in you. Conchita, how are you? We love you.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
We're talking to you. You are now in Dundee, at Dundee University in Scotland, right?
Yes, that's correct.
How do the words of Harrison Ford resonate in you and young people that probably don't understand why we are not doing things faster to protect our world?
That speech was super powerful. I remember listening to it, and the fact that I got to listen now in the show again. Well, it kind of reminds me of everything that we stand for, and that sometimes you kind of lose that vision of clarity, you know, whether it's short-term or long-term goals that, for example, companies have, or even like us as individuals. It could be that our end goal is sometimes forgotten, but I still feel that it's very important points, and the fact that we need nature and it's not the other way around, and it's something that we really have to take into account. And time is kind of running out, so we really have to make change, and it has to happen. It has to happen soon, and at the root of it, it has to be that we know what's important and what our really important goals are, and where our values lie as well.
You are at the university, and you're bringing people, women and men, students from other universities to join together to put different solutions in actions, and to push them on to protect our nature. One way is becoming independent of the massive burning of fossil fuels, using renewable energy, but there is much more that you're doing, Conchita. Let us know.
So I wouldn't say it's just protecting nature. At the basis of the project, the Earth Youth Project is basically sharing stories not only about protecting our planet, it is a big part of it, but also about our humanity and kind of preserving that. So it could be in the form of gender equality. It could be in the form of doing a volunteering experience abroad and trying to help eradicate poverty. So it takes lots of forms and lots of ways in which positive change can happen. And this platform, like you said, is a way to connect different individuals, get them all together, and a way to share stories and perhaps inspire other people that maybe also want to be part of that positive change, but they don't really know where to start or what they should do. So it's kind of a way to voice that.
in many of you young people, we can feel that you're angry, and you have reason to do so. We listen to Greta Thunberg addressing also the United Nations, which is good because we're listening to the young people and what you feel. We have to act, but we can feel that anger also in Extinction Rebellion movement, and now stopping roads and letting citizens know, and also bothering citizens in the everyday life.
I wouldn't say anger, though. I would say more of disappointment and feeling that it is a very important problem, and just like Greta saying, like, our house is on fire, but you're not really seeing the response that you would think that would go along with that problem. So I would not say anger. Obviously, like, there's a lot of climate action happening all around the world. You've got the Fridays for Future movement, you've got Extinction Rebellion, and other groups like that as well. But I feel it's a way to kind of fill in for that action that they're maybe not seeing from the government, and kind of press them as well to change too.
If you have 1 minute, I'd like you to comment also on these words of Greta Thunberg. We have them ready, John? Let's listen to her and to George Monbiot.
This is not a drill. My name is Greta Thunberg. We are living in the beginning of a mass extinction. Our climate is breaking down. Children like me are giving up their education to protest. But we can still fix this. You can still fix this. To survive, we need to stop burning fossil fuels. But this alone will not be enough. Lots of solutions are talked about. But what about a solution that is right in front of us? I'll let my friend George explain.
There is a magic machine that sucks carbon out of the air, costs very little, and builds itself. It's called a tree. A tree is an example of a natural climate solution. Mangroves, peat bogs, jungles, marshes, seabeds, kelp forests, swamps, coral reefs, they take carbon out of the air and lock it away. Nature is a tool we can use to repair our broken climate. These natural climate solutions could make a massive difference.
Pretty cool, right?
But only if we also leave fossil fuels in the ground.
Here's the crazy part. Right now, we are ignoring them. We spend 1,000 times more on global fossil fuel subsidies than on natural-based solutions.
Natural climate solutions get just 2% of all the money used on tackling climate breakdown.
This is your money. It is your taxes and your savings.
Even more crazy, right now where we need nature the most, we're destroying it faster than ever.
Up to 200 species are going extinct every single day.
Much of the Arctic ice is gone. Most of our wild animals have gone. Much of our soil has gone.
So what should we do?
What should you do?
It's simple. We need to protect, restore, and fund. Protect. Tropical forests are being cut down at the rate of 30 football pitches a minute.
Where nature is doing something vital, we must protect it.
Restore. Much of our planet has been damaged.
But nature can regenerate, and we can help ecosystems bounce back.
Fund.
We need to stop funding things that destroy nature and pay for things that help it.
It is that simple. Protect, restore, fund.
This can happen everywhere. Many people have already begun using natural climate solutions. We need to do it on a massive scale.
You can be part of this.
Vote for people who defend nature.
Share this video. Talk about this.
All around the world, there are amazing movements fighting for nature. Join them.
And one of those movements is the Earth Youth Project. Conchita, you have 1 minute to comment on this. Protect, restore, and fund. We need you. We need you. 1 minute.
Well, the video pretty much says itself. It's about restoring what we have. I find that it's a very important thing to treasure what we have as well, because that's the motivation that we need to keep what we have, stop more damage happening. And definitely cut the problem from the root.
All right, we have to go, Conchita. We will be back with you, but we have to give time to the news now. Thank you very much for being with us, and we connect in following programs. Conchita, all the best.
Thank you so much for having me.
We love you. All we need is love.
Es la 1, las 12 en Canarias.